Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on the video. Today we are taking a little trip down personal finance lane. I'll be reviewing the book I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. Hope I'm getting that name right. Apologies if not. If you are someone who's interested in maximizing your money and you want to explore different ways of thinking about major purchases like a house or a car, and you're someone who maybe wants a little more insight as to when and how you should invest, I think this book lays out a lot of good advice in those areas. This is the author's website, I will teach you to be rich.com. And here he is, just a little bit about him. New York Times bestselling author and founder of I will teach you to be rich.com. Over 1 million people read my material to learn how to use psychology and systems to live a rich life. That could mean automating your finances, making more money, finding your dream job, starting an online business, or mastering your inner psychology. Key takeaway number one would be to figure out the invisible costs of major purchases, or you could say the costs that you're not thinking of immediately off the bat when you're making a major purchase. The first major purchase he discusses in the book is buying a house. Now, you'll probably want to purchase a house that is an upgrade from either what you're renting now, whether it be an apartment or a house. So given that, your monthly payment is going to be higher than what you're currently paying. Second, there's property tax, insurance, and maintenance fees. Even if you can manage to match the cost of your mortgage to what you're currently paying in rent, or even if you're able to get a better deal on your mortgage than what you're currently paying in rent, all of those aforementioned costs, like the insurance, the maintenance fees, and the property tax, those are going to increase your monthly payment probably between 40 and 50%. So now a $1,000 mortgage all of a sudden is between $1,400 and $1,500. Now that's just one way of thinking about it. You don't have to lump all of those costs into what your monthly mortgage payment is, but if you're incurring all of those costs because you own a house, then it may make sense to you to put all those things into the category of your monthly mortgage payment. Similarly, a car will cost you more than just its monthly payment. I interpreted the book's philosophy of this as saying that the car's monthly payment is more than just the face value of the car. First off, the author says that from a financial perspective, the most important factor is how long you're able to keep the car. If you get a really good deal on a car, but you sell it after 4 years, you're most likely going to lose money. That's not the truth in every circumstance, obviously, but I think that we can speak in a general sense and apply that. When you're in the market for a new car, figure out what a comfortable monthly payment is for you and then work from that. So if you think you can afford a $500 car, then what the book suggests you do is get a car that would have a $200 to $250 monthly payment, because after costs like insurance, gas, maintenance, parking, or whatever costs you think you're going to have to account for, that $250 monthly payment for just the car could easily rise to something between $400 and $500 per month when you factor in all those additional things. So lesson number one is to try to see the bigger picture, maybe think things through a little more when it comes to making those bigger purchases like a car or a house. Key takeaway number two would be to optimize your credit cards. Now, I think credit cards can be beneficial if you pay them off every single month and you don't let interest accrue or pay late. Now, I would say try and find a credit card, and the book encourages you to find a credit card that aligns with your spending habits. So if you're somebody who doesn't travel a whole lot, then it wouldn't make much sense for you to get a credit card that rewards you for traveling. So figure out how you spend your money and then work from there. Now, my fiance and I are getting married in late June of this year, so we're looking at getting a nice cashback card for us because we're going to be spending a fair amount on the wedding, and we'd like to be rewarded for that spending. So the card we're looking at is from Alliant Credit Union based in Chicago, and it offers 2.5% cash back on all purchases. So you can see under that 2.5% cashback graphic that I put there, two calculations based on somebody who doesn't spend a whole lot in a month and somebody who can spend, $3,000 in a month. So if you spend $1,500 a month, you would get $450 back at the end of the year. If you spend $3,000 a month, you'd get $900 back at the end of the year. Now, these calculations do not include the $99 annual fee, which is waived in the first year. So you will have to adjust your calculations after that first year. But this card still beats a lot of the other ones I found on the market. And there's no rotating categories. I'm not somebody who really wants to do a ton of work in figuring out which areas to spend in order to get the rewards from this card. I don't want to look on a quarterly basis on the credit union's website to see, is it going to be groceries, gas, entertainment? Which category is it going to be this month or this quarter that I have to keep track of with this card? I just want to swipe and go. I did research other cashback credit cards out there, but there were none that I found that I would have access to anyway that were this flexible with spending and offered this much cashback. There is a card that I found that did offer 3% cashback, but the bank was, I think it was in Alabama, and I didn't qualify to be a member. You had to be local to that community, and I think you had to be part of it was a military branch that assisted at a specific building in the community that was eligible for the card. So definitely check out your local banks or credit unions and see if they have better offers in your area, because they do compete with each other and they know the communities they serve. But the book also says, and I completely understand this point because it's something I'm guilty of, is to not spend so much time on rate chasing so that it leads to indecision. You can research all day and all night, but if it leads to you not making a choice, then that can hinder your ability to get going in your life. So, find a card, pick a good card that rewards your spending and stick with it. Key takeaway number 3 is that investing is the single most effective way to get rich. So how do you suppose young people nowadays think they're going to get rich? If you guessed hard work and determination, you'd be dead wrong. 1/5 of young people think they're going to get rich through the lottery. Great. And 1/10 of young people think they're going to get rich through an inheritance. So unless you know for a fact that you're getting a nifty little inheritance passed down to you, the book suggests that you make your own plan to get rich, because more than likely winning the lottery and getting an inheritance ain't it. So again, the book says investing is the single most effective way to get rich. And this is the point in time where I just noticed my cat in the background. Perhaps he has a budding interest in finance, who knows? Now, one of the points the book makes when it comes to investing is that we should try more to match the stock market instead of beating it. Now, I thought that was incredibly refreshing and authentic, because I know all I've ever heard is how you're supposed to try and beat the stock market, but what I feel like is never talked about is how realistic that goal is. People smarter than you or I have been trying to beat the stock market for decades, and a very, very small fraction of them actually do, and they become famous for doing it. And those people have a lot of resources at their disposal, a lot of money to throw at getting those best resources they possibly can, and sometimes they still don't even beat it. So when he wrote that just made so much sense to me, and it's like, I don't even have access to those resources. I don't have all that money to throw at research. Why should I expect to beat a game that is so hard for those people who do? So he recommends to figure out your risk tolerance and research books and read books that will help you figure out an investment strategy that fits what you're comfortable doing and will fit what your short and long-term goals are. So to help with that, the book lays out what is called the ladder of personal finance. So we start from the bottom. The first step would be to contribute enough to your 401k to get 100% of the company match. Second would be to pay off your credit card and any other debt. I know a lot of people have various opinions on this. For me, I think that the smart thing to do would be to pay off any debt that is over 5% interest. Now, you can debate the minutia of that, but that can be just a rule of thumb. But I think that any investment you make in the stock market is not going to get a greater return than the amount of interest that's being charged on a loan or debt that is higher than 5% interest. 3, open up a Roth IRA and contribute as much as possible to it. If you have money left over, you can go to step 4, and the book tells you to put more money into your 401k at this point. But we've already done that in step 1 to get the 100% company match. So in my opinion, I would open a taxable investment account or begin to invest in something else, maybe real estate, whatever interests you the most. Now, if you've done all that and you still feel like you have more to dump into investments, then you can also invest your HSA money. Now, I just recently found out about this in a Motley Fool article that you can even invest your HSA, but they also said in that same article that you should maybe only think about doing that until at least you have the deductible saved first. And it does make sense, because I don't know how comfortable I would feel if I had my HSA money invested and I didn't meet my deductible yet. I don't want that to ebb and flow with the stock market. I'd at least want my deductible in there first. But measure your own risk tolerance and figure out if you want to invest or not invest your HSA. So after all that investing and putting money away, and you're still just, kind of like a sprinkler everywhere and you still have money left over, then the book says you can open a taxable investment account. Now, if you follow the book's advice to the T, that would be, I guess, the next logical step there. But for me, I would have already done that in step 4. So instead of contributing more to my 401k at this point, I would choose to invest in what I want. Fun fact, although it doesn't feel very fun when you have to do it, you can actually withdraw your principal from your Roth IRA penalty free. When my fiance and I were living in Chicago, she was going to her first year of law school, and I was unemployed for the first few months after we moved over there. We couldn't make our rent payment, and we had to withdraw money from her Roth IRA. So at the time, we didn't know that you could actually just take the principal penalty free. Would have been nice to know. You never want to withdraw money from your Roth IRA anyway, but we had to in this scenario. So just a little fun fact for you. Before I get to the last concept that stuck out to me from the book, please give this video a thumbs up and let me know your thoughts in the comments below on what we've discussed today. If you've read the book, what did you think of it? Did you find certain aspects of it interesting that I haven't touched on today? There's definitely a lot of information in here that I did not touch on today. There's so much good info in there to take in. But what were some of your favorites? And maybe if you didn't like some things about the book, let me know those thoughts as well. But as always, please subscribe to my channel. I'll be creating way more book reviews for you guys down the line. The next book I'm reading is actually called The Ride of a Lifetime by Robert Iger, who is the former CEO of Disney. So that should be a fun read. So the last key point I took away is also kind of just a fun fact, but almost nothing makes people feel guiltier than credit card debt. And when I read this quote from Greg McBride, a senior VP and chief financial analyst at Bankrate, who told the author, people are more willing to give their name, age, and even details of their sex lives than provide the amount of credit card debt they're in, which just made me laugh and kind of blew my mind as to the mindset of credit card debt. Which leads me to my last point. If you're in a lot of debt, whether it be credit card debt, student loans, medical bills, you name it, I think reading this book, I Will Teach You to Be Rich, will be of use to you. And it'll help you make a plan to tackle it. It is really in your best interest, no pun intended, to pay off your high interest loans before you start investing, because whatever the returns are that you're going to make on the stock market, credit card interest rates, you guys probably know how high they are. They can be between 15 and 25%, and you're going to lose money more than you're going to make it with investing. And you know what? You may make the argument that that's not fun to do, paying off high interest rates and those loans that are just a thorn in your side. And it's not fun. And I think that many of us have had to do it or have neglected to do it. But the person you're going to be 5 to 10 years from now is going to thank your younger self so much, because your younger self will have sacrificed some financial fund money so that your older self is able to go out there and take the vacations that you want to take and invest in the things that you want. So you're just, you're not getting gratification today, but you're delaying it till a later time, and you will thank yourself later. So thank you everybody for clicking on this video and watching my review of I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. I think it's a great book for people of all levels of personal finance to read. And if you're somebody who wants to tighten up your personal financial situation, it's a great way to get started to do that. Thank you so much for watching today, and we'll see you next time.